The June 15th slate of the World Cup features 4 very different matchups, but they all share the exact same underlying tension. They are the perfect case study for how teams try to manage the uncontrollable. At its core, international football is a balancing act. 4 years of meticulous preparation and systemic design collides with 90 minutes of high-speed volatility. We can map out how managers tame this volatility on a tactical spectrum. On the far left, systems built on rigid maximum control. In the middle, frameworks relying on controlled chaos. And on the far right, strategies embracing high-energy volatility. Where a team sits on this spectrum determines how they absorb shocks and whether their setup has enough margin for error to survive when a plan goes wrong. Spain sits at the extreme end of order. Under manager Luis de la Fuente, their tactical identity is built on stripping the randomness out of the game. They play with a level of cohesion you normally only see at the club level. By using rigid possession and structure, they effectively strangle the chaos out of the match, dictating the pace and location of the ball. This chart of statistical models for today's match shows the efficiency of that system against an underdog. Spain holds an 87.2% probability of winning against Cape Verde, who are making their tournament debut. But perfect systems carry a critical flaw. Without a degree of unpredictability, a rigid machine becomes sterile. If the opponent figures out the pattern, the structure becomes easy to defend. That is why teenage prodigy Lamine Yamal is so vital. He is Spain's designated wildcard. When the system bogs down, he provides the individual spark required to break through stubborn defensive lines. It proves that maximum control is a myth. Even the most perfectly engineered tactical machine still requires an unpredictable human element to actually score. Moving to the center of the spectrum, we find Belgium heading into their match with Egypt. This is a fading golden generation trying to navigate a transitional phase. Belgium lacks Spain's overarching, suffocating possession system. Because they can't rely on pure systemic dominance to grind opponents down, they have to intentionally manufacture chances out of thin air. To do that, they deploy Jeremy Doku as a specific tactical weapon. He is a fearsome dribbler whose entire role on the pitch is to rip apart opposing structures through speed and agility. But relying on a single chaos maker is a gamble. If Doku has an off day or the defense effectively double-teams him, Belgium struggles. Without a foundational system to fall back on, the attack collapses. Then we reach the extreme right edge of the spectrum. This is Marcelo Bielsa's Uruguay. This visualizes the mechanics of Bielsa-ball. It's a relentless, high-pressing system demanding absolute physical output from every player. Specific players, like Fede Valverde, act as the perpetual engines. They must cover massive ground constantly to power this exhausting strategy. The threat to a delicate physical balance like this isn't necessarily the opposing team. It is physiological disruption from the real world. Heading into today's match, Uruguay hit a logistical nightmare. Their charter flight from Mexico was blocked from entering the U.S., leaving the entire squad stranded in a hotel. After scrambling for a replacement plane, the team is landing in Miami barely a day before they kick off against Saudi Arabia. Bielsa's high press requires players to sprint for 90 minutes to close down passing lanes. If the squad arrives exhausted, that physical intensity drops, and the entire system effectively stops functioning before the match even begins. Looking at today's matchups, the vulnerabilities are incredibly distinct. Spain risks becoming too structured. Belgium relies on individual brilliance, and Uruguay faces physical exhaustion. This collision between tactical theory and messy, real-world logistics redefines how we watch the group stages. A World Cup match is rarely decided in a vacuum of pure athletic talent. The environment is too volatile. Ultimately, points are won by the squads that successfully navigate these specific tensions, whether that's a rigid machine finding a human spark or a high-energy press surviving a sleepless night in a hotel.